What is your first impression when you hear that a woman has been single for a long time? Do you think it is positive or negative? What are the reasons for your opinion? Story 1. My wife had been single for about 7 years when we met. No real issues. For a month or so, I was worried she was trying to overwhelm me, but she was just catching up. Story 2. I believe that those in glass houses should not throw stones. I am living in a glass mansion right now. Story 3. That is not enough information to go on. There are many reasons why that might happen, and context matters. Maybe she was moving around a lot, focusing on her career, had a bad breakup and needed to figure things out, had a mental health crisis, or had to take care of an elderly relative. During my single days, I often went years between committed relationships, mostly because I was happier being single than with the women I was meeting. I could not possibly judge a woman harshly for doing the same. Honestly, when I notice people who end up in relationships often and are not single for long, I believe their standards are too low and they do not know how to be happy without someone else. That bothers me more than having longer relationship droughts. Story 4. She is a person just like me, regardless of gender. They have chosen a route in life, maybe because of life experiences, and that is how she has been living. I would talk to her about it and try to understand. If she is forthcoming and explains it and it sounds like the truth, then it is a chance to get to know each other. If she is not forthcoming or it feels like a lie, I would not be interested. Authenticity is the deciding factor. Story 5. I do not think much of it. I was single from age 21 to 27, and the only serious long-term relationship I have been in is with my wife. Story 6. Maybe they have enjoyed their time being single. I have been in the same situation. After my first relationship, I was single for 4 to 5 years because it took a long time to get over and heal from the toxic feelings. The second one ended in a much healthier manner. I have been single for another 5 years. I have enjoyed the time by myself. Everyone has their reasons. Story 7. I would mark it as a potential positive. Here is someone who does not rush into a new relationship out of fear of being alone or fear of breaking social norms. I am curious. Perhaps she has good judgment, which is attractive. Story 8. Yes. Emotionally strong, self-sufficient, and aware of what she wants if she chooses to end her singlehood. She might have been working on something, such as starting a family, pursuing higher education, perfecting a skill like diving or karate, starting a business, caring for an elderly parent or sick friend, or recovering from illness or injury. As something unusual or rare, it might be beautiful and delicate, like a diamond or orchid. Could also be a sign of something else. Intrigued, proceed slowly and carefully with eyes wide open. Story 9. I have been single since 2019, but do not want to settle for the wrong person. So I think the same about her. Story 10. I would think, cool. She is actually able to care for herself and is not one of those who always pretend they do not need a man but actually do all the time. Story 11. Usually these days it is about individuals setting themselves up, especially with a career, working towards being financially independent and aiming to secure a place to live. The same applies to men. Story 12. The reasons for my opinion are the reasons for her being single. If she has been single because she is an awful person who cannot get anyone to stick around, guess what I will think about her. If she has been single because she did not really want to engage with the dating scene or something similar, it is a non-issue. Story 13. Neither yes nor no. I would just note that someone who has been single that long probably has a full life without a boyfriend. They likely have many hobbies, a dog, and a bunch of friends. It would be harder to fit a boyfriend into their life compared to someone who is used to doing things with one. It makes it more difficult. Story 14. When I see the attempts on Reddit Tinder, Reddit Bumble, and all the inappropriate pictures and creepy content, I am not surprised, to be honest. Story 15. It all depends on the reason. If you had a difficult relationship and needed time to work on yourself to ensure you did not repeat the same mistakes, that is completely understandable. If you believe that all men are untrustworthy and are not interested in relationships, that is the other extreme. Your situation depends on where you fall between these two perspectives. Story 16. These are some Either she is a walking red flag. She has been capital H hurt from a past relationship and is extremely afraid of it happening again. She is focusing on her career and does not feel like she needs a relationship. Or she is simply at peace with herself and does not need anyone else. Note that not being in a relationship does not mean not seeing a few guys on the side. In my opinion, if you tell me you are in this situation, I would wait for you to make the first move. Story 17. Well, in honesty, if I can see her, there is an initial thought related to how she looks. If she is attractive, I assume she is either single by choice, focusing on her career or education, or she is an absolute nightmare. Story 18. I would not think it was good or bad. I would be curious why she has been single for that long and how long her last relationship lasted. Story 19. I have been single a long time and had a great time. I worked around the world, did okay financially, and met some gorgeous women. I have been selfishly doing whatever I want. Story 20. In the cases of the women I know, but I doubt it is a universal experience, the women who have been single for longer periods of time are typically more stable. The ones who worry me are those who cannot go any length of time without being in a relationship. I have a couple of friends whose longest stretches of being single are between 1 and 3 months in the last 10 years, but they have dated about 8 different people in that time. They have no idea who they are outside of a relationship. Story 21. I'll either find it cute that she hasn't found the right person yet and doesn't jump on random people just to be in a relationship to act like her friends. But I will wonder if something bad happened to her in the past, and if I am interested, I will be really cautious not to make her feel uncomfortable. If I feel she opens up a little, I will start to be flirty. Story 22. I think it is a good thing. Too many women cannot be single for more than a few weeks or months without latching on to somebody, which to me indicates dependency. Story 23. It all depends on why she has been single for more than 5 years. Healing from an abusive relationship or marriage. Good for her. Trying to date someone too far above her? Red flag. Story 24. I have been single longer than that, so who am I to judge? Can be good, but it can also be bad. Whether it affects attraction depends on the individual. Story 25. I'm a 29-year-old virgin, so I really don't feel anything other than hope that she is excelling at the things she enjoys. I would hope she has a cat because I don't, and I want to hang out and slowly gain the trust of her cat. Otherwise, I don't have any strong feelings or assumptions based on the information that she has been single for a while. Story 26. I would want to know why. As long as there is a reasonable explanation, it would not bother me. Life happens. There could be medical issues that occur. Maybe after coronavirus disease, you just had a hard time getting back into the dating scene. Maybe you were too focused on your career or did not want to get tied down to an area you did not want to stay in. Story 27. There are many reasons for it that people cannot simply assume. Working on a career, attending school, focusing on mental health, improving physical health, dealing with inner work, depression, anxiety, facing difficult people, managing extreme expectations, the list goes on. Some are deal breakers and some are positive signs. This is a general question that requires a complex answer. Story 28. There are many more factors than just being single. If she has been single during that time and not dated anyone because she wanted to focus on a specific topic, then that is great. If she has been on 2 dates a week and has not managed to maintain a relationship, that is a concern. Not a definite no, but something I would want to understand. Single-dimensional decisions or views rarely capture the complexity of relationship decisions, romantic or otherwise. Story 29. None, unless they have children. I am not against children in any way, but it can definitely be a significant barrier to dating in your 20s and 30s. It is an absolute non-starter for more than 75% of single men. Assuming children are not involved, I would not care at all about the time since their last relationship. Life happens, and it is usually challenging, so who am I to judge? Story 30. I'm approaching 60 and recently went on a couple of dates. Just starting. With a very attractive professional woman who has been divorced for 25 years and never remarried. She was visibly nervous on the first date. She asked if it was a red flag, and I told her not necessarily, but it does make me wonder if she is emotionally available or just very set in her ways. How can someone live alone without support or the rhythms of daily life for that long as a woman and then share their space with a man? It also made me realize how important sharing a life with one woman in the same home actually is to me now. I think there are a lot of hurt women out there who choose to just walk away from men. Story 31. It depends on her personality. If she is really meek, withdrawn, or shy, I would probably think she is just inexperienced. If she is loud, boisterous, and outgoing, I would think she is probably still in her partying phase. But if that is the only thing I know about this person, then what could I possibly say? It could be because her standards are too high, or because she is career-focused, or because she was hurt badly in her last relationship, or because she is not in any hurry, or because she is enjoying the single lifestyle, or because she does not meet many men, or because she has serious unresolved issues about relationships. There are countless possible reasons. Story 32. It depends on why she is single. My ex could not find the right partner for 5 years. It turns out she has a very narrow idea of what she wants in a partner, and that is fine. It is just not me. Story 33. I have no opinion on women solely based on whether they have dated or not. It also depends on whether not dating means she is hooking up with people or something other than a casual or serious relationship. Story 34. I like it. It tells me she is grounded, can be alone, and would rather be alone than lower herself or her standards. I go years between relationships, and I do not trust people who cannot be single for any period of time. I have found they are that way for the same reason that they cheat and avoid addressing issues in relationships. They often prefer superficialities to spiritual depth because they are uncomfortable sitting in silence with themselves and their own emotions. Story 35. I'm glad she took time to be single and get ready to be out and meeting others again. I have been single and out of the market for 12 years and have just returned. Sometimes there is an excuse. I was also busy. Story 36. I have been single for 24 years, and I am 24 years old. It would be hypocritical for me to criticize people for staying single. Story 37. From my experience, the reasons are either she cannot get the man she wants or is still processing the hurt from the last relationship. Usually both. Story 38. Most likely a good thing, in my humble opinion. As we get older and wiser, I hope we learn to set clearer boundaries and tolerate less nonsense. Many who have gotten out of toxic or dysfunctional relationships need time to heal and figure out what went wrong. Usually, you tolerate more nonsense from your partner when you are younger and less experienced. Then, you get out of those toxic relationships and figure out what does not work from the beginning. I dated a woman in my late 20s whose father cheated on her mother. She had trust issues with men and always assumed that I would cheat on her, spending all her time trying to catch me doing so. I did not cheat on her, but it took me over 3 years to realize that I would not stay with a woman who was constantly looking to catch me cheating. She was at such a loss that she finally read my diary and found a letter I wrote to myself about an ex-girlfriend from college. She knew it was wrong but felt justified that what she found proved I would cheat on her if I had the chance. Story 39. Maybe they had a difficult relationship and took a while to get over it and start dating again. They could have had a busy career. There are many reasons to step away from dating for a while. Story 40. My opinion on the matter is irrelevant, and I am definitely not going to speculate on reasons. Maybe they wanted to complete their dissertation or something before spending time and focus on another. Maybe their last love died or something, and they did not feel emotionally ready to give it another chance. Maybe she is a player and preferred warm and brief relationships she can leave or send home while she has been focused on advancing her career. In summary, I would not have one. It is a non-factor. Story 41. I assume this is for women who are physically attractive enough. I suspect she has standards so high that they are somewhat delusional or she is asexual. Story 42. Yay, to me it shows she is taking time to heal from the past and not just jumping back into a relationship carelessly. Story 43. I have been single for 44 years. Who really cares? I have not been looking for anything in the past, so it is no one's business but mine. Story 44. If it comes up in conversation, I might ask why, but I cannot think of much that would make me feel negatively about her. Story 45. I wonder what is scaring everyone away. Let us be real, all women have some type of problem. We are just looking for the problems we can handle. Story 46. I've been on the apps for years. Every time I meet an attractive, likable, sane 37-year-old woman with her life together there's always a catch. And it's nearly always because she is emotionally unavailable and has an avoidant attachment style. Let's be real, any halfway decent-looking woman can get a great guy in 2 seconds if she wants one. If she's been single for more than 5 years and she's really that great in every other way, it's because she doesn't want one. Whatever story you might hear about there being no decent guys out there or any life event, it is all false. She is emotionally unavailable. As far as yes or no, I mean, at my age, that's what is out there. If she is cute and fun to be around, I'll give it a shot. I just won't be surprised if she starts to withdraw after a month or two and then gives me some weird, I'm not feeling it excuse seemingly out of nowhere. I've been through that dozens of times like Groundhog Day. Story 47. Do I already know if she has children or not? If not, I would think she is a career-driven woman. That comes first and any man is a distant second. Or she has expectations and standards that no man can live up to. Story 48. Their standards are high or they are not in the right mental space to date. Emotionally unavailable, mood disorders, avoidant personality disorder. For that last one, I know some men like that myself. Story 49. I am going to wonder why. I will not rush to judge. But that is longer than I would expect. I will hear her out. I may or may not accept her reasoning depending on the answer. Story 50. There are many factors to consider. If we are talking about a situation where she was actively looking for relationships and continued to be unsuccessful, my impression of her would depend on how she speaks about the men she has dated. For example, if every single man she mentioned was problematic, sometimes there is a common denominator. If things simply did not work out with multiple men, which can happen, I would think that she tried but experienced some bad luck. Story 51. I have no strong feelings one way or the other. Other information will be more impactful, such as why she has abstained from dating and whether she has children. Story 52. That is a good sign if it means she has not been unfaithful during that time. She should avoid it at all costs. Story 53. Nothing negative. Have you observed the men of Reddit? I completely understand why women would be single for 5, 7, 8, or 20 years. Story 54. Curiosity. The why matters so much. There are good reasons to be single for that long and bad ones. Good reasons. Too busy, was not in the right headspace for a while, needed to focus on family and career, have not met someone worth not being single for. Bad reasons. Wanted to explore options, party and have fun, find herself. A crazy year or season is one thing. A crazy decade, no thanks. Felt locked up, cannot find anyone willing to commit. Story 55. They are generally not good long-term relationship material. From my experience, girls who stay single for that long can have a variety of issues like untreated past trauma, an avoidant personality, or bad habits. For example, being stuck in a clubbing mentality where they go out 3 or 4 nights a week and bask in the attention from a group of men who surround them to buy them drinks. I have also met chronically single girls with strange hang-ups on love and sex due to religious beliefs. Some girls who are always single have unrealistic expectations for a man and have no idea how to date or form a healthy relationship. Story 56. Single and by herself? Nice. She knows not to rush and avoids flings of the moment. That is something valuable. Single and casually hooking up in the meantime? Yeah, that is a big no-no. Story 57. You cannot make any assumptions. Single in casual language simply means not in an exclusive relationship. Both a nun and an absolute individual could meet that definition. Story 58. Each person has their unique difficulties like me. I will not judge women on this as judging does not help. Story 59. It is typically a red flag because that tells me something is wrong, that no one has wanted to date her for so long or her standards are really high. However, this is not always true. It is possible she focused on other things and did not really bother with dating. Story 60. If I heard a woman had been single for years, I would first consider the source of the person saying it. Being single can mean many things. A below-average man's definition and experience of being single is more of a desolate wasteland than that of a below-average woman. Story 61. I'm actually surprised by the number of men who say it does not bother them or that they would not care. I would be more discerning and try to determine why over a few dates. Maybe it is nothing and they were simply not interested in dating, maybe they were focusing on school or family, or maybe they are difficult to deal with. Not saying it is a red flag, but I would consider it a yellow caution. Proceed slowly. Story 62. I think I am probably not going to be the person who gets her to settle down in a stable, monogamous relationship, so I stay ready for the inevitable crash and burn. Story 63. I don't have any impression. I just assume non-sociable. I could work with that if we have chemistry and attraction. Story 64. In East Asian culture, unmarried women after a certain age are considered a red flag. In the office setting, most people understand that unmarried women are troublesome. Even married women understand this. Story 65. It depends on what she did during that time. If she was accumulating experiences, that is not acceptable. If she was simply living her life, it does not matter. Story 66. I think my immediate train of thought would go something like this. She has either had a bad relationship in the past or she is a virgin. Neither of those are necessarily bad things. It is just how she handles herself and, more importantly, why she handles herself that way. It is like anything else in life. If you know the when, where, why, and how of it, then you can make a truly informed decision. Story 67. Based on past experiences, I would honestly assume she has been sleeping with a number of different people during that time frame and will now have trouble genuinely being committed for very long. Story 68. I tend to think single women my age, 37, have some significant personality flaw. Even if I don't see it in my interactions with them, I assume it is there. The more attractive they are, the bigger the flaw or the more certain I am that there is a flaw. This is completely unsubstantiated, but based on current dating dynamics, for an attractive woman to still be single at my age means there is something keeping her from being tied down. It could be narcissism or being career-oriented. Whatever the case, there is something up. Story 69. Usually it is not good. I mean this in the most sincere way possible. If she is good-looking, then it is even worse. Why? Do you mean to tell me an attractive woman has been single for that long? What is wrong with her? Is she unnecessarily picky? Is she unmarriageable? Unable to form a committed relationship due to previous relationships that were her choices? Red flag. Story 70. If someone is not a religious woman or virgin, it is like if no one wants you in your 20s, why would someone want you in your 30s or older? The question is, why did you not have a partner in your prime years when you were young and beautiful? Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.